Shalom, shalom. Greetings to you all in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, wherever you are. Grace and peace be with you. His mercy, His forgiveness, His care, His goodness, His grace. Yes, I pray that let that be tangible, real to you. In Jesus' mighty name. In Jesus' mighty name. Oh, we are blessed people. We are a blessed people. We are a blessed generation. Everyone who is living post-resurrection period where we are today, you are blessed. Telling you, you are blessed. Thank God forevermore. You are blessed. Thank you, Jesus. We are blessed. Thank you, Jesus Christ. The Bible tells us in Romans chapter 4 verse 9, that's where we are. And in KJV will say, cometh this blessedness then upon the circumcision only, or upon the circumcision also? For we say that faith was reckoned to Abraham for righteousness. The meaning of this verse, it can be more clearer if we use another version. It says, does this description of bliss apply only to those who are circumcised? So does it mean that those who are blessed are the ones that are circumcised? Because that's what was thought, that's how it was thought in the Old Testament. And he asks, okay, does this description of bliss or happiness or joy or blessedness apply only to those who are circumcised? Because you see, they were given a sign of circumcision, the children of Israel, and that was a sign they had, and it separated them from the rest of the world. It was a sign. So it says, if you are to understand this blessing that God is talking about here, is it a blessing that is only for those who have been circumcised, or also to those who are uncircumcised? You know, when you hear this word circumcised and uncircumcised, in our time, we might not take it, we might not grasp the weight it had and it has in the Jews. You see, you couldn't even compare these two things in the minds of the Jews. You couldn't compare. What are you talking about? Circumcision and those who are uncircumcised? They understood in their time that if you are uncircumcised, you have nothing to say. You have nothing to do with them. You cannot defeat them. I mean, you are a pagan. They understood that if you are not circumcised, you are not even of God. God can't do anything for you. This was the mentality and the mindset. So remember Paul writing this, he has this awareness that there's a community of the Jews who are listening and hearing him. He wanted to help them to be free from this ideology they held in their hearts for so long. And he's asking a question. And because many of us also have been transformed into Judaism, and we don't even know that. We find that we're not even believers, we're not Christians, we are mixed up. We are mixed up. We don't even know what it means to be a Christian, a believer, and to believe Christ and Christ alone. We find ourselves some culture mixture from where we come from, or Judaism, part of Judaism, part of Christianity, part of where we come from, and that mixture is what we have today as faith. No wonder people are confused. But I want you to know that He says, does this description of bliss apply only to those who are circumcised or also to those who are uncircumcised? He says, let me repeat what I said. Abraham's act of faith was accepted as putting him into a right relationship with God. So Abraham believed, and of course that was counted for him for righteousness. So he was called righteous because he believed, not because he was circumcised or not. So he's actually helping those who have this mind that, you know what, the circumcision comes first, then the Lord will accept you. No, he says Abraham's act of faith was accepted. So it was the act of faith is when he said yes to what God had showed him. And he agreed with the Father. He said yes. And that was counted unto him a righteousness. So, if we are to look at things through these lenses, what do we see? Should we say that those who are blessed are those ones who are circumcised, or even those who are uncircumcised? Glory. You know, I wonder the way what we know about God, what we think about God, what we consider about God, what we think about God. See, what we think about God. We think God is partial, is biased. These are all lies or walls of limitations that we carry in our minds. Paul tells us that we pull down those strongholds. Those walls or limitations are actually in our minds. And they will limit us because we carry things which are not true. We imagine things that are not real. We attribute certain things to God, and yet He's not the one who did them. In fact, we cover His goodness and try to think that probably He's evil. Ever since man fell, his perception towards God was darkened. It was not straight, it was not correct. He imagined things about God, and yet God is not the author of what happened. And many of us would think that these things were done by God, and yet He did not do them. You remember when Adam was running away, and God is like, why? What's going on? Where are you, Adam? He wasn't asking him because he didn't know. He wanted him to realize how he fell, how far he fell from grace. And so where he fell determined how he sees things, how he interprets God, how he understands. No wonder the fear came and he was running away from God. Do you think when you are running away from somebody, you have a good feeling about him? No. Do you have good perception, the right perception about him when you're running away from him? No. Definitely, it's a sign that these people were running away, the sign that Adam was running away from God because his perception had changed. And it doesn't matter what God was speaking or saying, he understood them differently. And the way he interpreted that which God said was not without fault. At times they would misinterpret what God said. At times they would see things differently from the way God sees them. And they attributed wrong things upon God until Jesus came to correct all this mindset, all this belief system that is not correct, it's not right. It's important, brothers and sisters, for us to realize that we are blessed. We are blessed. See, when we are biased, we don't realize that we are blessed. We think God blesses some and doesn't bless others. And this is what we have as our popular belief. So the question was, does this description of bliss apply only to those who are circumcised or also to those who are uncircumcised? Another version says, is this blessing then for the circumcised one, circumcised alone, or does it not belong also to the uncircumcised? For we say his faith was reckoned to Abraham for righteousness. So it's not his circumcision was reckoned to Abraham for righteousness. It's not his circumcision. It is his faith. See? So it's not about the circumcision. And circumcision was a sign to the Jews and was a strong, strong sign. And this sign was also a mark. It's a sign that distinguished the Jews from the rest of the world. See? And do you know that the circumcision was the outward mark after Abraham had a covenant with God, not before? So circumcision came later. That's what we see in the following verse. But as we are still here, I want you to realize that the blessing comes upon those who believe, not those who are circumcised and those who are uncircumcised. In other words, some people put requirements, certain requirements for you to be blessed of God. You should have this, you should have done that, you should have done that, you should have done. That's not true. That's not true. And for a fact, if you want to analyze this, you will see it. If you want to see it, you will see it for yourself. The truth is, God does not do it that way. God blesses all men. The difference will be some will recognize this blessing, some will not. In fact, these limitations of our wrong belief systems are the ones that are hunting us, that are doing harm to us, that are limiting us, not God. No wonder he says that my people perish because of the lack of knowledge. Yeah, that's the issue. They will perish not because God is making them perish or killing them or whatever, but because they lack knowledge. We are here to say that you are blessed, not because you are circumcised. And circumcision was a required outward mark that separated you from the rest. This was a kind of a prerequisite to them. But the truth is, God was blessing even those who are not circumcised. And he showed it from Abraham, that he blessed Abraham way before he was circumcised. Therefore, you cannot say that he was blessed because he was circumcised. Even circumcision wasn't there. Circumcision was not known when he was blessed. So what came first? Blessing. What came later? The circumcision. But he says that when they looked into this, they misinterpreted it. People misinterpreted it. It's like, okay, you should first be circumcised and then you'll be blessed. No, you are blessed even before you are circumcised. I want you to see that big picture of God, a good God who blesses his people. Not because they are circumcised or uncircumcised, but because of his goodness. Do you see the goodness of God? And is good to all men. Shalom, shalom.